Hi guys. Lately a lot of you have been commenting that I should review this video called Why We Must Exercise. Goatis, raw carnivores are wrong about practically everything. I don't know who this guy is. Typically I would not respond to a video like this because I wouldn't even watch it, but because a lot of you requested it, I'll do it. Who knows? Maybe I am wrong about something when it comes to exercise. I guess that's what he will talk about. We'll see.
This video will encompass every benefit of exercise that I could find. I commonly hear from supporters of GOTUS and other random niche people who believe that exercise is deleterious, that if you exercise, it's not natural, it's harmful to your hormones, or you will look bad. And while that's subjective, they're overwhelmingly incorrect. But before I...
Subjective, you do create dark eye circles and under eye bags from stress, and exercise is extreme stress. He even has some also. What exactly is subjective about it? I guess you could say so. It's based on your beliefs and opinions, but it's just naturally so. It looks unhealthy.
Address these scientific concerns and general consensus that proves that exercise is healthy for your cellular health, reproductive health, cognition, and bone.
For your cellular health, even though exercise literally kills cells and causes oxidative stress, and nobody even denies that. That's the consensus. The inflammation, the redness, the pumped up muscles if you lift weights after a workout, that's literally it. This is not even denied.
And muscles, I will get into some of the philosophical background, refuting some of the riffraff nonsense spewed by GOTUS. In this refutation of him and his mentally ill fans, these people might otherwise be productive people. He and his orbiters subscribe to a particularly flawed and self-destructive pedagogy. He makes statements with absolutely no understanding of endocrinology, physiology, or the reality that we find about human life in anthropology. Our ancestors had a tough lifestyle, trained and worked daily. They were constantly facing hardship.
Hardship, exactly. Meaning that they hated it, they didn't want it. Something bad. Hardship means bad. Is he now gonna say that hardship is good? As if our ancestors wanted hardship? Because if you would ask them, they would all say, no thank you, no hardship for me. That's why it's called hardship. He basically doesn't even understand English, because that's the origin of the word hardship. It's something that you don't want to experience.
We are not our ancestors. We are carrying the genetic torch passed down by that lineage. We are what should supersede them, but we're poisoned by this comfort. The thing...
By discomfort or comfort, we have no comfort. What is he saying exactly? We have the most discomfortable lives in the history of humanity. What he's probably talking about is that back in the day people used to farm, for example, which without machines can be hard, but that's not our nature. It's not as if we farm in nature. I think that he's referring to this time period, which is not relevant anyway, because we are hunters, maybe also gatherers, but not even really, that we're really just predators.
Do you think the likes of Klaus Arminius or Robert de Bruce were recognized as heroes upon birth? No, their actions earned them status. With some cooperation and hard work, you can create something that you're proud of.
I've never heard of the people. Why do you name people without saying who they are? I bet you that 99% of people watching it have no idea who you're talking about.
You can be somebody that you're proud of. This is life-affirming philosophy.
He's reading from a script. Okay, nothing really wrong with that, but why don't you make a freer video, just freely talking?
Unlike GOTUS, who says that humans are never meant to leave their comfort zone, that they...
It just shows you a really emotional attachment to your beliefs. He also seems kind of emotional talking about, like he's very attached to it. Probably some guy in his late 30s, turning 40, thinking, oh no, I've been exercising my whole life and now I have to admit that it actually wasn't so. It wasn't good for me. It wasn't the way I believed it is. And instead of dealing with that, I have to make an emotional script and respond to somebody and call the fans of this guy mentally ill. It just seems like you're attacking somebody instead of attacking or arguing with the points. It's all fine to call people names. I have nothing against it. I'm the last one who would have anything against it, as long as there's a reason. Starting the video off just like that already shows you that he's kind of emotionally involved in this topic. Just chill, who cares? Okay, then believe that exercise is good for you. So what? Just move on with your life.
Assume danger that this is a sign of mental illness or depression, which is absolutely asinine. Our ancestors recognized that they were fulfilling something.
No human ever went against their comfort, which is their instinct. That never used to be the case. No animal does that. Because discomfort means stress. Stress is bad. Stress ages you and kills your cells. It creates more wrinkles and so on. So you don't do that.
They recognized that the Faustian spirit, the endeavor to conquer, is essential for expanding, that you are serving something greater than yourself, that you are not simply a atomized human being, individualized by a...
He's very emotional. Really just, exercise? No, how can you say that against exercise? No, no, no. Like, what is this? Jesus, just chill. Wow, you just seem depressed, basically. Just look at the face expression. How dare he say something that goes against my beliefs? My beliefs are the only correct beliefs. Fuck, this is fucked up, man.
System that is alien to you. You are a...
Is he shaking? Literally, seems like his head is shaking. Is this the exercise? What's wrong with your body? You're biochemically not well.
person representing the collective. You are a microcosm. Within the grains of sand on the beach, you are just one piece of sand, but you help to represent the entire beach. You are a single star and the universe. You must serve as the emissary, as the embodiment of your people and...
I don't know what he's getting to, but running for no reason on pavement or lifting metal up and down doesn't serve anybody, it doesn't help anybody, it only makes you depressed, it decreases your own lifespan. Why are you talking about exercise like it's something that helps somebody? It doesn't help anybody on this earth, except if he's talking about something else. But if you want to somehow connect hunting or farming even, which is bad, but okay, I understand why people did that because of famines. How can you connect it to lifting metal or whatever he's into?
Lift that. But he doesn't see it that way. He sees it that human beings are meant to be cowardly, shirking animals, avoiding their duty.
Nobody says that. I promote the opposite of that. But lifting metal in a man-made building together with other slaves, really, that is cowardly, because you're not doing what you naturally want to do. Actually, he just debunked himself.
Avoiding any scary, harmful, and dangerous task.
Yeah, literally every animal on this earth. So you're saying every animal on earth is like that? Everybody avoids stress and what they are afraid of? You're a small animal, a small dog, you see a bigger dog, you run away? That's dumb. What you should do is run to the dog and let the dog eat you. That's courageous. That's how we should live. What? What is wrong with him?
Absolutely cowardly, disgusting behavior. I have no idea how people see such a disgusting, physically repugnant human being and then hear this nonsense and they take it to heart and believe.
Yeah, this is very emotional. Really an attack on me and the people who watch my videos, not really anything else. His fans on social media adore serial yeah, and there's people who adore people from the military who 100 plus people. They wait with flowers and welcome them back home when they come back from their so-called mission. Is that better somehow or what? So stupid. None of my fans have ever promoted PDF files, nothing like that. Never. I have specific videos even, especially on Telegram, strongly talking against that. I have a video about Ian Watkins, for example. Nobody who watches my videos has ever promoted it. I've never seen that. Total nonsense. He's lying straight up. Satanism? What is that even supposed to mean? I'm pro-nature. Except if you call nature satanic, which I wouldn't be surprised about, then you haven't watched my videos, or who knows what's going on in this guy's head. He's very emotional. That's the problem here. I don't think that he sees clearly. I think that actually this is a case of somebody being completely misinformed about me and what I promote.
Leave it. I feel like the only people who would look up to this are already seeking something that is niche and alternative, and they want to have a justification where they will never be criticized, because they will never see criticism of their leader, of their ideological figure, which they center themselves around. Philosophically, almost every person in Western eschatology would disagree that the meaning of life is simply to just make ends meet and live as long as possible and amount to nothing. Additionally, he holds that
But what is he saying? That exercise amounts to something? Or what? Exercise nothing. Tell me one thing that you can achieve by running or lifting metal, for example, or even playing football or basketball. Just name one thing that you can achieve from any of those things. I'll be waiting forever.
Exercise, at least ancestrally, means only to just exist, to walk outside in hikes. I've gotten comments, 2 or 3 comments, explaining almost essentially that to walk and to hike is all that you should be expected to do, that your ancestors when hunting weren't doing physically extraneous tasks, which is absolutely untrue. And also when you're
The way you hunt is by lurking. You wait for the prey and then you attack, and then there's some physical stress possibly. If something happens, your leg gets stuck somewhere, you need to get out, or the animal runs away and you need to try to run after the animal, which you won't be able to because you're too slow as a human being. Yeah. This is so illogical, because what he's saying is that could happen, meaning that we should imitate bad things that happen. So theoretical bad events should be imitated by modern humans because something bad could happen, instead of the logical conclusion. If something bad happened, we try to avoid that because even our ancestors didn't want that to happen to them. For example, you have to carry a very heavy animal alone for a kilometer back to the tribe. Would you want to do that? No, you would want somebody to help you. That would be less stress and less aging for your body. But you do that. Are you now clever by imitating something that they hated? By carrying metal for an hour? Back in the day, you would have wanted somebody to help you carrying the animal because it would be easier. It wouldn't cause hardship. You don't want hardship as a natural animal. Do you not understand that you're imitating something which no animal on this earth wants? Hardship is bad.
For implicating your ancestors in anything, are you taking a holistic view at all of human history and anthropology? Humans entirely were doing hard things. They were training. They were engaging in battle. They were...
Training for what? And what battle? Yeah, you engage in a battle, and then what? Are you saying that it's good to get injured or to die in the battle? No, you would want to succeed in the battle. Win. Winning is better than losing, right? So what are you saying? Imitating everything that was bad? So you should live a bad life. A hard and bad life full of stress.
They were as sophisticated as many humans now, and they were working to create different things and training intentionally, mastering their bodies to produce different outcomes. And so by pretending that human beings, all they ever did was hike around and chase after animals and just relax all day and eat berries, that, we should emulate Stone Age tribes, this is foolish.
What is foolish about it? You just described a normal, natural life. What exactly else should they have done? Lift rocks up and down for no reason. But an animal doesn't do that. A lion doesn't go up to other lions and says, come onto my back, let me go up and down and train my back by you being on me. People, or animals in general, avoid hardship. How do you not get it? Nobody wants stress and hardship. And if it does happen, they don't like it. You can survive through hardship, but you don't want it. Nobody wants it. I don't really get what his overall argument here is.
So they're trying to flex, but they're 5'7" and they're 155 pounds. It's like, what are you trying to flex? That you're emaciated? That you're malnourished because all you eat is raw meat and your body has a hard time digesting it? I mean...
What? How he has no experience with eating raw meat? Okay, I'm not surprised. If he did have experience, he probably wouldn't have made this video. He's just disconnected from his own body. What does this guy eat then? And also, why does he talk about the height as if some guy in his 20s really has any control over his height anyway?
You're not accomplishing anything. The point of nutrition is to further your body in the endeavor to accomplish greater tasks. The point of feeding your body is not so you shit it out. It's so you could use your body to do something. And idiots like Goatus don't understand that.
Man, why are you so emotional? This guy needs some self-reflection. Why would you hear that somebody has a different belief than you, such as about exercise, and then get so emotional about it? If somebody such as you says that you don't agree with me, what do I care? Why would it trigger you so much? This really says more. This whole video is really more about yourself than about me. This isn't even about me at all. This is you not being able to confront other people's beliefs. Because no belief on earth should trigger somebody that you do a lot of ad hominem attacks. I don't care about that. I even think that they are oftentimes legit, but when you actually have no arguments, I haven't seen actually any argument made here so far, and you just call somebody names constantly and you kind of almost shake, you really have a problem.
They get caught up in this riffraff where they're allowed to grift and
look at the wrinkles that you're creating on your forehead from all the stress. This is what you're doing to yourself. It's the same with exercise, actually, ironically, which you don't understand. Because when you have the strain on the muscles, it affects your skin also. And you can see when people exercise, as I showed in the video about the joy that you get from exercise, the opposite. You can see that people create the wrinkles because of all the stress, because they are so agitated. The hardship, it's something that they don't want to do. When you're getting this upset over somebody's opinion, you're really just stressing and aging yourself. Jesus, just chill. It's like you're attached to a religion. Like I just made a video against Christianity.
cry and bitch and moan about something that is possibly, potentially, maybe better than the, poisonous swill, which you might consume if you were literally a being acting with no autonomy, no agency in the modern West, except that we're not, of course, so you can still use discretion and create your own recipes and eat a healthy diet. You don't have to eat this ultra-processed food all the time, or at all. But comparative extremes, pretending like it's either you eat fucking, pineapple and raw liver for every meal and goat testicle and you drink blood and smear it on your face, or you have to be, super obese 600 pounds eating McDonald's for every meal and eating fries and drinking corn syrup. Like, it's absurd. The false dichotomy does not make sense, and neither are beneficial. And it's only very lowbrow, functionally illiterate people who believe this nonsense. He says that exercise ruins your hormones, an issue which he has little grasp of. He says that you should only engage in light exercise, not extreme exercise. How would such a thing be established?
Actually, I'm against all exercise, because exercise by definition is you exerting yourself because of the belief that it's good for you. Hunting, doing whatever you want to is not exercise, because you're not doing it with the belief that you're doing something which is good for you. That's why people go run, jog, they lift weights, whether they want to admit it or not. Most of them believe that they will become more attractive, and because they will live longer and have a healthier life. If most people would believe that exercise is unhealthy and decreases your lifespan, no matter what else they want to believe about exercise, they wouldn't do it, because at the end of the day, you don't want to ruin your health. So this belief that it's healthy for you goes hand in hand. Otherwise, nobody would be doing it.
By way of reason, do you manufacture a distinction merely based upon the capability of your own body? Ancient human beings were persistence hunters. They were walking for days.
There's no recorded cases of this. What he's referring to is one video on YouTube, which has millions of views. And that's why people always talk about it. And at least he didn't say running for days or for hours. They really were just walking in the video. Most of the time people say they were running. They were only walking, almost only. A little bit of jogging, but pretty much only walking. And that's a video. It's a mainstream channel camera team that went to them and filmed it. It's most likely fiction anyway, but even if not, that would be one tribe that did it on that specific day through a desert. What is most of the earth? Jungles, forests. You cannot even hardly walk through them, let alone run, which is what most people believe. You understand what I'm saying? People in nature, because it was mostly full of nature, needed to lurk and to wait, and then wait with their spears and bows and attack. People were not, or fishing for example, people were not walking through a forest or running where most of the plants cut you after some deer or wild boar. How do you even imagine that works for a forest? You're imagining man-made forests with man-made paths and roads where cars drive through. That's not nature. That's not how it used to be even 100 years ago. We had thick forests, which you can hardly even get through. And then you build your own community in the middle and you cut out the forests. That's how people in Africa lived up until recently, where there were no deserts. But you're taking examples from one video which was filmed in a desert, which is most likely fictional anyway. And why would you imitate something so hard anyway? Do you think that, this is the main point that I'm making, do you think that even if it was real, that the people who walked after animals for hours, that they wanted to, or would they choose to have the animal and eat it? Would they choose hardship, or would they choose it to be easy? Answer that question and your whole video is debunked, and you know it.
To chase down animals. You're trying to compare yourself to very ancient, more than 15,000 year ago, fucking tribes. Then why aren't you an ultramarathoner?
What? Ultramarathoner? What are you talking about? Nobody hunts like that. If you want to watch documentaries online, just look at them. They walk a few steps, they lurk, they wait, and then they attack. There's 20 people who go and attack an elephant, all with spears. There's no walking, running involved in hunting, almost at all. And if there is, they don't even want it. Because do you think that your biology changes somehow because you live in nature? It's still as hard. If you experience hardship, you experience aging. If in nature you would have to run after an animal, you would experience aging. That's why nobody wants it, because it's hardship. It's bad for you. It's stress. Nobody wants stress. What you're saying is, let's now run marathons because of something fictional, which never happened anyway. But let's just say there was a case in history, one case 10,000 years ago, where some guy just couldn't get an animal and they were just running after him. Do you think that they wanted to do that, or do you think it's clever to imitate something which was very stressful and decreased their lifespan? Or should we do what actually increased our lifespans? Should we do what's good for us? You see how illogical it is? You're saying, let's imitate bad hunters who ran after or walked after animals for hours. Let's do something which they hated doing, which created tons of wrinkles in their faces. It's so illogical. It makes no sense.
Why aren't you hiking up mountains? You said that puts people in danger, that people shouldn't do that. Yet our ancestors did that. What are the benefits of exercise?
Again, a great example. You have a mountain in front of you, or you have a path which goes straight. Which one would your ancestors choose? Oh, the mountain, of course, because they wanted hardship, they wanted stress, and they wanted to age themselves to die early. Because that's just what people do in nature. They just look, which one is more stressful? Let's go up the mountain. Everybody looks at him. Are you crazy? Why would we go up the mountain? Because it's hardship. Because stress is good for you. Didn't you read the latest study? What the fuck, man? Oh my god, it's so dumb.
Men's fertility impacts the formation of the placenta and the embryo and the relative survival rate of the fetus. So when you conceive a child, the health of the men's sperm and the women's DNA matter. But if a man is healthier, his offspring have a greater viability and will be genetically healthier. The epigenetics of the father get passed on in the child. So being physically fit and exercising, things like this, not only help to exude a greater total...
Proof? Evidence? What is he reading from? We have no idea. I checked the video. There's nothing in the description also. No. We have no idea. How can I respond to that? If I would have a link, I could check them out. Now, what can I say to that? Yes, if your sperm is healthy, your seed, you will create a healthier human being. Common sense. Does experiencing hardship and stress make your seed healthier? Is that what he's saying? Proof, evidence?
And the formation of fascia, as well as the continued growth and formation of myelin and activin within muscles. It helps to improve cardiorespiratory capacity. It helps to improve the ability for your blood cells to carry oxygen, deliver oxygen. It improves the production of hemoglobin, of red blood cells. It improves your immune system. The transient increase, the temporary increase in cortisol after exercising,
and you don't even
is
get
used
it.
to improve
Oh, this
your
guy doesn't
immune
even understand what he
system
just
and help
said.
signal
You're
response
saying that
in
your body sees exercise
encode new
as very
proteins
inflammatory and
for your
bad
cells to recover
for the body, obviously, because it's hardship, because it's stress. And that's why it tries to get adapted to it. And that's why all the cortisol, you just debunked yourself. That's also why a lot of lactic acid, for example, is released to deal with the damage, which really just means cell death.
It is not a continuous and chronic stressor, which is causing serious visual signs of aging and or shortening your lifespan. In fact, the opposite. One of the greatest predictors for longevity and quality of life into older age is muscle capacity in your legs and the bone mineral density, structural integrity of your...
He's talking about, Jesus, he's so mad and emotional, it's insane. He's talking about a correlation, a link between stronger legs, essentially. People also link that to other body parts, oftentimes, and your longevity. Technically, yes. If your body is healthy, there's a correlation with living longer, of course, but that doesn't have anything to do with exercise, because otherwise, if you would be a bodybuilder, or especially on steroids, you would have huge muscles and you would live long. What it means is that if you're emaciated, you're in a care home eating bread with marmalade, you lose your bone mass, you have brittle bones, you have no muscle mass left because you, as I said, eat bread with marmalade, which doesn't build muscle or bones, and you just lay around all day because you have no energy, the life energy is being sucked out of you, then you could link that, which is not scientific, but a correlation study, epidemiology essentially, you could link that to having a shorter lifespan, of course. And somebody who's healthier, who eats meat and goes for walks and whatever, just lives naturally as possible, they will live longer, of course. That doesn't have anything to do with running or lifting weights.
So if your bones can stand up to injury, if you have more muscle on your body and you are less sedentary, you are likely to live longer. And in the case that you are falling, you are less likely to sustain a horrible injury.
Yeah, but it's like saying, in case you win the lottery, it's like saying, be a bodybuilder, do steroids because you will have really big legs, whatever, arms, and then if you fall, maybe coincidentally, as likely as winning the lottery, then you will fall on the bigger bones and muscles, but you will die anyway earlier because of the stress. Do you understand why this is not good reasoning? You're talking about hypothetical situations.
Exercise also improves the survival likelihood of the human animal by improving...
He even says human animal, so he understands that we are animals. But all animals avoid everything that you said is good for us in this video.
Appetite, lowering or regulating blood pressure, lowering or regulating blood clotting, and improving estradiol levels. Having less fat on your body.
Fat, yes, of course, you have stress and you eat up your body fat. Yeah, it causes weight loss because it's stress. The video still went on for a bit. He kept on talking about how we should be eating seeds, bread. That's a different topic. I don't care about the diet part. I only wanted to respond to the exercise part. And as far as that goes, I see two big problems. Firstly, no idea, belief, or opinion should ever make you this emotional, no matter what we are talking about, because then it means that you're emotionally attached to this belief. In this case, he really wants to believe that exercise is good for you. Who cares? Then believe that it's good for you. Exercise, go sprint, jog, run marathons, or lift metal. You never said what you do. I assume that he's a gym goer, maybe, although it doesn't look like it. It doesn't even matter. At the end of the day, for the body, stress-wise, it's more or less the same, although marathons are, of course, way worse. My point is simply that it's kind of like a religion. You really want to believe that it's good for you. Maybe you did it for super long, and then I come along and say, no, it's not how the mainstream tells you. It's not actually good for you, healthy, doesn't prolong your lifespan. There's no belief that should be able to trigger you. If you hear that somebody has a different opinion about a topic, then you can listen to them or not if you don't want to. If you don't care about it, you can argue with them, but it shouldn't emotionally affect you. If somebody says that cooked meat is better, then I may talk to them. I may try to help them to understand, but I will never actually get emotional about it and say, oh, how dare you say that cooked meat is better for you? No, I follow this religion. I need you to believe that raw meat is better. I don't give a fuck. Eat whatever you want. It's just not a sign of a healthy biochemical state to react like this just because somebody doesn't agree with you about a topic, in this case, exercise. That's the number one big problem that he has, because when you think about a topic like this, you will never see the truth because you're too attached to it. There's too many emotions and feelings involved. That should never be the case about any opinions or beliefs that you have. Secondly, his biggest problem is that he doesn't seem to understand that just because some people in the past experienced hardship and stress, that we should also do the same just because that happened to them sometimes. Because none of those people would have ever chosen the stress and the aging, the dark eye circles, the under eye bags, sleepless nights. It's the same as saying some people in the past were woken up by lions at night. They only got to sleep 3 hours. And then they had under eye bags. That happens in nature also. Now we should sleep 3 hours and imitate that and do these 4 a.m. morning routines, get like 3-4 hours of sleep and drink coffee because that happened to people back in the day. So what if it happened? Do you think that they wanted to be woken up by lions? If you follow something bad, then that's what you're saying. What kind of a logic is this? Why would you live your life like this? If somebody really did walk after an animal the whole day, which is completely illogical, they would run away. That doesn't make any sense. You're watching fictional documentaries and movies on YouTube. But whatever, let's just say that it was so. Why would you do that? Do you think that they wanted to? As I said, would they have chosen to have the animal in their hands? Or would they choose to walk after them like a marathon runner? No, they would always choose to have them right there. So then why would you imitate what they don't want? That completely goes against your intuition. You as a human being want what's good for you, right? No matter what you think about exercise or whatever topics, we can at least agree on that because you don't want what's bad for you. That's why we invented the word in English, bad. Bad is bad. I don't know how else to put it because some people really don't seem to get it. But if you ask them this, they should be able to agree on at least that. You want what feels good, which is what's good for you biologically. Because if you want what feels bad, what you hate, then you have other issues going on, because then you're self-destructive. But let's just agree on that. Then why would you imitate something that your ancestors didn't want? Let's say that they worked on a farm all day. Why would you imitate that? Because when you do that, you have the strain on your muscles. You do create wrinkles. You can see it literally being created because you make these face expressions of hardship. You're hating what you're doing. You're not achieving anything by running around on the pavement or lifting metal. Nothing at all. If anything, you're decreasing something, which is your own lifespan. And if you want to talk about some correlation studies, I'm going to link them. I've got tons of studies showing that even working out 40 plus minutes a week already decreases your lifespan. But it's not even about that. At the end of the day, who are you going to listen to? Somebody who created a study? Doesn't matter who it is. Or are you going to listen to yourself? And when you listen to yourself, what feels good? Exercising or not exercising? Having exertion or no exertion? Having stress or no stress? Having hardship or no hardship? No matter how much you want to lie to yourself, everybody is gonna give you the same answer. No hardship feels better. No stress feels better. Of course. This is the fallacy behind it. His overall point was, I have this super religious belief that I have. I get super emotional if somebody questions it. You're not allowed to. You have to go along with the mainstream. Also, when it comes to diet and eating seeds, stop talking about eating raw meat. Stop talking about exercising being bad for you, because they all want what's best for me. Just listen to mainstream advice. My number one point is be happy and healthy. It's not about how long you will live. If you're happy and healthy, you will live a lot longer than most people. That's true, of course. But it's not about that in the first place. Because by this logic, you just live for yourself completely. But if something would happen to my child, I would give my life for my child in a blink of an eye. No brainer, purely instinct. I would give my life for my child. And I would do a lot, which is stressful for me, if I would save the life of my child, or if I could do anything for my children, just as an example. That's not at all what I even promote in my videos anyway, in the first place. There's also, I think, a lot of misunderstanding involved here. But to sum it up, the overall problems are, he's very emotional when it comes to this topic. That's not normal. You shouldn't be attached to any belief. And you don't understand that what you're trying to imitate is what humans back in the day always tried to avoid. Think about that, and you will come to a different conclusion when it comes to this topic. Thanks for watching.